Let's be honest. Ketchup is the most emotionally dependable thing in your fridge. Milk expires. Lettuce gives up. Leftovers become science experiments. But ketchup waits. Patiently. Thick, unbothered. And yet, this calm red bottle has one of the most chaotic identity crises in food history because once upon a time, ketchup was medicine, not a condiment, not a burger accessory. Medicine. Imagine going to your doctor in 1834. You sit down. You explain your stomach hurts. He nods seriously. And then he says, "Have you tried ketchup? Take 2 spoonfuls and call me in the morning." Yes, that actually happened. But before ketchup became medical advice, it wasn't even tomato-based. In fact, if you traveled back far enough and asked for ketchup, you wouldn't get something sweet and red. You'd get fish sauce. Surprise. The word ketchup likely comes from a Chinese fermented fish sauce called Ketchup. No tomatoes, no sugar, no fries, just fermented fish liquid. Imagine dipping your fries into fish juice and confidently saying, "MMM." Classic ketchup. Your ancestors were brave. From China, the sauce traveled through Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, evolving along the way. Eventually, British traders discovered it. And when the British discover something tasty, historically speaking, they pack it up and bring it home. So ketchup arrives in Europe. But here's where things get weird. Instead of copying the original fish recipe, Europeans basically said, "What if we improvise?" And by improvise, I mean chaos. In 18th century England, ketchup wasn't a specific sauce. It was a category. People made ketchup out of mushrooms, walnuts, oysters, anchovies. If it fermented, it qualified. It was less of a recipe and more of a personality test. You'd go to dinner and someone would say, "I made ketchup." And you'd respond with what? And they'd say, yes. Tomatoes at this point were not the star. In fact, many Europeans and Americans believed tomatoes were poisonous. They were called poison apples. To be fair, part of that rumor came from aristocrats eating tomatoes off pewter plates. The acid reacted with the lead in the plates. People got sick, and everyone blamed the tomato. Classic case of blaming the vegetable. So for a while, oysters were considered safer than tomatoes. Let that sink in. But eventually, someone brave, or hungry, decided to try making ketchup with tomatoes. And guess what? It tasted good. It preserved well. It was cheaper. And most importantly, it didn't kill anyone. Big win for tomatoes. By the early 1800s, tomato ketchup started gaining popularity in America. And then came the plot twist nobody saw coming. In 1834, a doctor named John Cook Bennett announced that tomato ketchup had medicinal properties. According to him, it could cure indigestion, diarrhea, jaundice. Basically, if your stomach was having a bad day, ketchup was the solution. And he didn't just suggest pouring it on food. He turned it into pills. Ketchup pills. Imagine opening your medicine cabinet and seeing a bottle labeled extra strength tomato. Some companies jumped on the trend, mass-producing ketchup-based medicine. But here's the problem. There were no real regulations. So copycat producers started selling fake ketchup pills filled with who knows what. The whole thing spiraled into a medical marketing circus. Eventually, people realized ketchup wasn't exactly curing anything, except maybe bland chicken. And just like that, ketchup's medical career ended. But its food career, that was just beginning. By the late 1800s, ketchup had another issue. Quality control. Many manufacturers were cutting corners. Some added harmful preservatives. Some used spoiled tomatoes. Some produced ketchup that was, let's say, aggressively experimental. Enter Heinz. Henry Heinz decided to do something radical, make ketchup clean, make it consistent, put it in a clear glass bottle so customers could see what they were buying. Transparency before it was trendy. At a time when food contamination was common. This was genius. If you can see through the bottle, you can trust it. Heinz marketed heavily, 57 varieties, which, fun fact, wasn't even accurate. They just liked how the number sounded. That's branding. Ketchup became standardized, sweetened, balanced, and slowly, it embedded itself into American culture. Burgers, fries, hot dogs, backyard barbecues. You don't just eat ketchup, you experience it. Then came the sugar era. Over time, American ketchup got sweeter. Because America likes things sweeter. Cereal, sugar, bread, sugar, yogurt, suspicious amounts of sugar. So ketchup evolved too. Today's ketchup is basically socially acceptable tomato candy. It's vegetable frosting. But there's science behind why we love it. Ketchup hits multiple flavor triggers at once. Sweet, salty, acidic, umami. It lights up your taste buds like a tiny fireworks show. And the color red. Red stimulates appetite. There's a reason fast food logos are often red. Ketchup isn't just flavor, it's psychology and nostalgia. For many Americans, ketchup equals childhood, dipping fries at a diner, backyard cookouts, messy plates, paper napkins losing the battle, it's comfort. Which is wild when you think about it. This sauce started as fermented fish liquid, got rebranded in Europe as mushroom chaos, was feared because tomatoes were poison, turned into fake medicine, survived food safety scandals, and became one of the most recognizable condiments on earth. Also, you could aggressively squeeze it onto fries in a zigzag pattern like an artist with no patience. And here's the funniest part. We argue about it. People fight over whether ketchup belongs on hot dogs. Friendships have ended over this. But almost nobody questions why it exists in the first place. The next time you grab that bottle and shake it violently because it refuses to come out, remember, you're holding centuries of trade routes, cultural misunderstandings, marketing genius, medical misinformation, and a serious glow-up story, from fish sauce to fake medicine to French fry royalty. Ketchup didn't just survive history, it reinvented itself multiple times. So the next time someone says it's just ketchup, you can calmly reply, no. It's a 300-year identity crisis in a bottle. History isn't just in textbooks. Sometimes it's sitting in your fridge, right next to expired milk, waiting patiently, unbothered, thick, and still somehow medically questionable. And that is the surprisingly dramatic life of ketchup.